It's time to practice a little bit of the triad knowledge that you've acquired in modules 8 and 10 so that you can both write and recognize triad qualities in whenever you see them. So we're going to start off, why not again with treble clef, sure. And let's do some identification first. I'll put some triads here on the page, on the screen, and you can identify them. You want to also be sure that you can label them by writing down the label in a way that your theory teacher will actually know what you're talking about. So we'll start off with some that have few accidentals, and we'll get into some that have more accidentals. And I bet I could even put some that have a lot of accidentals. Let's see. I think this will be a good one to start with. Oh, let's finish with a particularly complicated one. There we go. Okay, starting here in treble clef. So we have all of these triads are right now in root position, so we don't have to worry about rearranging the notes. We'll do that in just a few minutes. But let's figure out what we've got here. This is one of our naturally occurring triads. The root is an F. So if you haven't yet memorized the naturally occurring triad qualities, which would sure be a good idea, then we could test it out. So what do we have here? F to A. What kind of third is that? Major third. What kind of fifth is F to C? That's a perfect fifth. So we have an F major triad. Capital F means F major. Okay, this is kind of blobby here, but it's supposed to be DFA. Sorry about that. DFA. First measure the third. Again, it's a naturally occurring triad. You could save yourself time by just knowing these already, but let's measure. D to F, what kind of third? Minor third. What kind of fifth? Perfect fifth. So what kind of triad is this? A minor triad. If I'm going a little fast for your interval identification, don't despair. It just means you need to practice more at it. And that's okay. You have time to practice and get better at these things, but you just have to recognize that yes, you do actually have to practice these things. Thinking that someday you're just going to wake up and the theory fairy will have put interval recognition under your pillow at night is not maybe the most successful way to improve your musical knowledge and your skills. You, like I say, you just have to practice. Okay, let's do another one, another naturally occurring triad. This is G to B. What kind of third? You answer for yourself. And what kind of fifth? Okay, if you answered that question correctly, you should come up with the answer of what quality G major, because this is a major third and a perfect fifth. Okay, let's see now. We can do the same little measuring process here. We have a triad that has an accidental on only one note, so I think I'm just going to measure the intervals as they come. Measure the third, A flat to C. Measure the fifth, A flat to E. And what do you get? A flat augmented. This is a major third and an augmented fifth. A flat to E is too big to be a perfect fifth. It's augmented. Okay, we have some kind of G sharp triad next. Measure the third. Measure the fifth. And what does your answer look like? What quality is this G sharp triad? G sharp diminished. It's a minor third and a diminished fifth. Okay, here's one, E, G sharp, B. It's some kind of E triad. There are a couple ways we could answer this one. Because the accidental is on the third of the triad, I'm going to try using the naturally occurring triads as a comparison. If I know that E, G, B is naturally occurring E minor, and I have raised the third, so instead of a minor third, it now has a major third at the beginning of that triad, then I could have a quick answer and say this is an E major triad. You might find that especially the major triads are going to become really, really familiar to you. That's great. All the major triads would be another way to increase your theory reading flexibility. You just say to yourself, today I'm going to concentrate on every major triad that exists. There's a finite number of them, so it's not like there's an infinite number of major triads. You could also discover, by the way, that this is a major third and a perfect fifth. Okay, I've got one more here, and this is another chance to practice using the naturally occurring triads to help my answer. Back over at the beginning of this line, we wrote F major. We figured out we knew that this was a major triad, and it's one of our naturally occurring ones. If I put an accidental, the same accidental on every note in the triad, it is going to retain its quality. So it's not F major, it's F flat major. Hey, is this the same as E major? Could I just label this as an E major triad? No! Do you see an E in that triad anywhere? I know it sounds like an E major triad. If I were sitting at a piano keyboard, I would tell myself, just grab the notes that look like an E major triad. But on paper, on staff paper, it is spelled as F flat, and so it's just going to have that name the whole time. Okay. Let's do some writing practice. I'm going to ask you to write some triads. If you don't have staff paper in front of you, now would be a great time to pause the video, grab some staff paper and a pencil so that you can help your hand tie into your brain by writing some triad qualities. So I'm going to list some triad qualities and you're going to spell them. Okay. Again, if you have paused the video to write, or if you're going to pause the video, write your answers and then hit play to see what the answers are. So now let's check out what the answers are for these triads and why. I'll try to go over them pretty efficiently so it doesn't get too boring, but we have to have a little bit of boring when we do this kind of exercise. So C minor. I know the C major triad is CEG because it's the naturally occurring triad, and I should know that one by now. So I made, instead of a major third with E, I made the third minor, E flat. D major. Oh, I could say, hey, I built a major third above D and a perfect fifth. Or I could say, well, the D minor triad is naturally occurring, D, F, A. I'll make it major. I'll make the F, F sharp. E flat major. Well, I need a major third above E flat, that's G, and a perfect fifth above E flat, that's a quick one. Same accidental rule to get it to be perfect. E flat, G, B flat. F diminished. Okay, I need a minor third and a diminished fifth. F to A flat is the minor third. F to C would be the major third, not major third. F to C would be the perfect fifth. I have to make it smaller, so I put a flat on the C. Now it's diminished, F diminished. C sharp minor. Well, there's two ways to do this. One is to simply say above C sharp, I write a minor third, and above C sharp, I write a perfect fifth. Another sneaky way to do it would be to say, hey, I remember that I just wrote a C minor triad at the beginning of this line. If I wanted a C sharp minor triad, I would just raise everything that I wrote before by a half step. So C became C sharp. E flat became E natural. G became G sharp. So sometimes you can use your own knowledge to save yourself some brain trouble. That's perfectly good. The next one was B diminished. That's a naturally occurring diminished triad. It's the only naturally occurring diminished triad that exists. So that could be a quick one if you would learn those. B, D, F. We can check it. Minor third, diminished fifth. Yep, that's diminished. A augmented. I need a major third, A to C sharp, and an augmented fifth. It's got to be bigger than a perfect fifth. So A to E sharp. Hey, could I write F instead of E sharp? I hate E sharp. Too bad. I'm really sorry. You've got to have E sharp. It's got to be spelled like some kind of fifth. D flat minor. This could be a pain in the neck, certainly. D flat minor. There are maybe 3 ways you could come up with the right answer. You could measure a minor third above D flat and a perfect fifth. You could take the DFA triad, which is a naturally occurring minor triad, we had it up here in treble clef, and say, well, if it's going to be D flat minor, I put a flat on everything. You could also be sneaky and say, hey, we just wrote the C sharp minor triad, which is enharmonic. It sounds the same, enharmonic. It sounds the same as D flat. So if I could just respell everything so that it looks right starting on a D flat, C sharp is the same as D flat, E is the same as F flat, G sharp is the same as A flat. That would probably not be my first or second choice of how to figure it out, unless I were really, really comfortable with triads and spellings and stuff like that. Okay. Let's do just one more exercise here. I'm going to give us 2 staves. In fact, we'll make it a grand staff with this curvy brace. This is as if it were piano music. And we need to know what the triad is. And I'm going to put some of them not in root position. Now, we have labels to say if they're not in root position, what position are they in? We call those inversions. I'm not going to give the inversion answers now. Those of you who already know them, great. You can feel good about that. Those of you who say, what are you talking about? Don't worry. That's for theory class. We'll get to that later. Right now, I want you to identify what's the root of a triad and what is its quality. So I want you to tell me the root and the quality. Let me write a couple of these in here, and you could stop the video and figure them out yourself. And when you're ready, you can just hit play again. Okay, let's see what the answers are and how we could work them out. First of all, I'm going to put put your favorite clef down below if you wish as a scrap paper. I'll use treble clef for now. I hope somebody's using alto clef as their scratch paper. All right, I have a B, a G, a D, and a B. I don't care about the repeated note. I just ignore it because we only need 3 different pitches. If we're singing soprano, alto, tenor, bass, then it's clear that for 4 voice parts and 3 notes in the triad, somebody has to double somebody else's note. So we don't care about the doubling right now. So I have a D, a B, and a G. And the only way by now, if I say a B, a D, and a G, maybe because you've practiced your triad spellings, your letter names, you might instantly say to yourself, oh, that's got to be some kind of G triad. You might, if you've practiced the naturally occurring triads, instantly say, oh, that's a G major triad. And if not, you could certainly practice by saying it's a major third and a perfect fifth. This is a G major triad. Yes, it's in what we would call first inversion. No, you should not worry about that right now. The next triad, I see an E flat, a B flat, an E flat, and a G. Okay, I don't need to worry about 2 E flats. E flat, B flat, G. E flat, B flat, G. That's not looking like a snowman. Okay, forget that. What if I just move the G? Aha, it looks like a little stack of thirds. Now it's in root position, and now I can tell that this is an E flat major triad. Okay, the next one has a D, a B flat, and an F. Oh, that doesn't look like root position yet. I've got to jumble those around. How about like this? Nope, that's not root position. Okay, let's get rid of some of these here. Eraser, where are you when I need you? Okay, how about B flat, D, F? Now it looks like root position, yeah. And B flat, D, F, maybe it's one that you've started to memorize already. It's got a major third and a perfect fifth. This is a B flat major triad. It happens, by the way, to be in first inversion, but again, you don't need to worry about what inversion it is right now. Okay, here's one, C sharp, G, and E. Again, by now we should know the triad spelling of C-E-G. And so the fact that I just said those letters jumbled up, in my mind they can unjumble. C sharp to, here I'll put it down here. C sharp to E is a minor third. C sharp to G is a diminished fifth. This is a diminished triad, C sharp diminished. It's in root position, by the way. That's a good thing for everybody to know. Why is it in root position? Because the lowest note is the C sharp. Those of you who are treble clef readers, you might be puzzled. You're saying, but E is the lowest note. Well, it's the lowest note in the treble clef, but hey, those bass clef notes, they win. They're lower. C sharp is the lowest note. This is a root position, C sharp diminished triad. Last one, A flat, F, C. Again, knowing your triad spellings, I've got some kind of a C, and an F. Does that jumble back together in your mind into F, A flat, C? I hope so. Now we can test it. FAC is major. FA flat C, all we did was lower the third. It's now minor. This is an F minor triad. It's also in that first inversion position, but again, the inversion's not super important right now. You should keep practicing with the materials we've given you and in your written theory book that you got from Schwab so that you can get better and more comfortable at all of those exercise things. Even if no one is checking your answers in the theory book as you write exercises in there, it's still going to help your brain get better and better at these things so that when you get to Theory 1 and Skills 1, you hit the ground running.